Good afternoon. How are you today? How is our series? How is our series? It is effective or not? I think it's much effective. Our series is, what is our series? Emotionally healthy spirituality. The title, of the message today is growing into emotionally mature adult. Our text is in Matthew chapter 22, verse 35 to 40, and Luke 10, 25, and 27. And our series is Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. Now, what is in your mind if you are asked, what is emotionally matured adult? Maybe you have different answer with me, but I have here the growth or the attitudes or the stages of spiritually matured adult. Emotionally, number one is emotionally infant. Number two is emotional children. Number three is emotional adolescence. And number four is emotional adult. Now, what is emotional adolescent? Infant. This is the attitude. Even though you are old enough, but if you have the attitudes of this emotional infant, what is he or she look for others to take care for them. If you have the attitude like this, you are still an emotionally infant. Number two is emotional children. They are easily hurt, complain, withdraw, and take revenge. If you are adult, but then you are still easily be angry. The number three, tend to often be offensive, are threatened and alarmed by criticism. Deal with the conflict poorly, often blaming, pouting, or ignoring the issue entirely. That is, if you are still, your attitude is still on that emotional adolescence, even though you are old enough, but you are still emotionally adolescents. Now we come to emotional adult. Emotional adult recognize, manage, and take responsibility for their own thought and feeling. Can win under stress. Can hold on, if, even though it is in stress or in stress. respect others without having to change them. Have the capacity to resolve conflict maturely and negotiate solutions that consider the perspective of others. So we come now to our text in Matthew chapter 22 verse 35. This is the expert of the law, or the lawyer. One of them, an expert of the law, tested him with these questions. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The Ten Commandments, the 1 to 4, is the greatest commandment. Love the Lord. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew verse 40. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. All of the commandments. And we come again to Luke chapter 10, verse 25, where the expert of the law asks questions again, just to test Jesus. Maybe the expert of the law did not know that Jesus is the Messiah. That's why they are going to test Jesus. On one occasion, the expert of the law in the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He answered, love the Lord. This is now, on Matthew, Jesus is the one who answered. Now, the expert of the law answered. He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. This time, he wants to justify his answer. What is his justification? Who is my neighbor? Emotionally matured spirituality grows out of love for God. Loving God leads us to love other people. Such love will result in action, which comply with all God's moral demands. Love is the starting point of Christian ethics. People are expected to be related both to God and to other persons through a commitment of sacrificial giving love. Loyalty and faithfulness are to characterize such relationship. Jesus provides the best summary possible of all the Old Testament revelations. He focused all the scripture on the priority of a right relationship with God and then with neighbors. The law and the prophets hang on these two commandments: to love God supremely and to love neighbors as self. Being matured God's people do not have to learn a list of roles or phase of prophetic judgment. We have to let God plant His love so deep within us that we respond to every situation in love, seeking God's will and the best for the other person. Acting self-giving love is obeying God. I hope you agree with that. Acting self-giving love is obeying God. As we act in love, we will fulfill the law's deepest demand. Going back to Luke chapter 10, which the expert of the law asked Jesus again, and then he justified, who is my neighbor? But Jesus had concrete illustrations as a parable, telling him the parable of a Samaritan woman, or a good Samaritan man, that a certain man from Jerusalem to Jericho. This is the picture of Jericho. From Jerusalem to Jericho, a man was being robbed, and he is half dead. And the priest and the Levites go on that way, but they did not help the half-dead man. So Jericho was a city of priests. A priest ought to be holy man. The law demands mercy and help to a neighbor, because this is in Exodus. This is the command for them, for the priest and for the Israelites people. If you come across your enemy's ox, donkey wandering off, be sure to return it. If you see a donkey of someone who hates you falling down under its load, do not leave it there. Be sure to help them with it. That is the command. The priests and Levites both disagreed or disregarded the law in praising the half-dead person. Likewise, a Levite, a temple minister, he probably excused himself by the example of his priest. Sumunod lang siya sa kanyang sa pare. But a certain Samaritan, you know what's a Samaritan in the time in Jesus? The hereditary enemy of Jews, despised and hated by the latter. The Jews and Samaritans have no dealings. You remember the Samaritan woman in the well, when Jesus talked to the Samaritan? The Samaritan was amazed, because at that time Jesus talked to a woman which the Jews hate the Samaritan. Samaritan are, or Samaritan one, communicated by, excommunicated by the Jews. By word among them, synonymous with heretic and devil. See, this Samaritan to the Jews are heretic and devil. So they do not really associate with the Samaritan because they hate more. If any man had excuse for passing the wounded Jew, it was the Samaritan. Kung ang tao na hindi dapat magtulong sa isang taong nangangailangan ng tulong, the Samaritan, because they hated. And the one who had been robbed is a Jew. But he, unlike the priest and the Levite, had compassion. His compassion leads to action, to self-denial and inconvenience. He dresses the man's wounds, set him on his own beast, carries him to the end, and when he left money for the care. Now I have a joke here. I try to memorize it, but when you are old, it's hard to memorize. So I have to read it. A couple were their first prenatal class, so that the husband could get an idea of what it felt like to be pregnant. The instructor strapped a bag of sand to his stomach. As he walked around with his bulge, the husband said, "This doesn't feel too bad." Parang hindi niya naramdaman na buntis. The instructor immediately dropped the pen and said to the husband, "Now I want you to pick up that pen as you were pregnant. You want me to do it the way my wife would?" Confirmed the husband. "Exactly the same," said the instructor. The husband turned to his wife and said, "Honey, pick up the pen for me." Sometimes we want to feel the love of God, but it seems that we want somebody to do for us. How do we grow into emotionally mature adult? What will be our attitude? I have only one phrase here: love like Jesus. Why love like Jesus? You will be an emotionally mature adult. If love like Jesus is in us, we we will be assured that we will be emotionally mature adult. Why? Later is we have a forgiving spirit. Like Jesus, when he was hung on the cross, imagine you are hung on the cross without any fault or sin. But then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. In Matthew chapter 6 verse 14, he said, if you forgive others for the wrong they do to you, your Father in heaven will forgive you. What's difficult in forgiving someone, especially your husband or your wife, to forgive? As he said, but if you don't forgive others, your Father will not forgive you. See? But if you will not forgive, our Father in heaven will not forgive us also. You know Stephen? You know the story of Stephen? In Acts chapter 7 verse 59, while he was preaching or evangelizing, but then he was being stoned to death because at the time you could not preach, you could not teach, you could not evangelize at the time. Well, they were stoning him. Stephen prayed, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. Then he fell on his knees and said and cried out, Lord, do not hold this sin against them. Do not hold this sin against them. When he prayed, and when he had said this, he fell asleep. Imagine, somebody is stoning you. Somebody is stoning you. But then you still forgive them because of love. Because of their salvation. Like Jesus, if you have love like Jesus, we can be like Stephen also. What kind of hard up or say things or bad words that our enemy is telling us, but we can still forgive because the love like Jesus is in us. Number 2, we will have compassion for our neighbor. We will have compassion. Like Jesus Christ. You know why Jesus Christ had compassion? In Matthew chapter 9 verse 36 he said, when he saw the crowd, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like shepherd without a sheep. You know this, like sheep without a shepherd. Who are these? These are our neighbors. Because these people have no Christ in their lives. They need our help. These are our relatives. that without Christ, that they did not receive Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. They are our co-workers. They are our friends who need our help. That's why Jesus had compassion on these people, because they need the help of a mature Christian, emotionally mature adult. They need us because they are harassed. They are a sheep without a shepherd. They will what? Where they go? When they die, they will go to hell. So we need, or they need us. They need the mature or emotionally mature adult. You know Peter, that's why he advised to all the emotional matured adult. Finally, all of you, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. That's why Peter now could advise the emotionally mature adult, that is us, if we are emotionally adult. He advised us to be compassionate, loving. Letter C is, if you have the love like Jesus, you can love your enemy. You can love your enemy. Anyway, maybe we don't have enemy here. If you have love like Jesus, you will love your enemy. What Jesus is telling in Luke chapter 6, but you who are listening, are you listening? But you who are listening, I say, this is Jesus said to us. You are listening. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. What we will do to our enemies? Do good to them. And then another is, bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. If you have your enemy, they mistreat you, what will you do? One is, do good to them. Number two is, bless them. And three is, pray for them. You have enemy? I hope you don't have enemies. If people are mistreating you, they are your enemies. Now, Paul said, if anyone does not love the Lord, let this person be cursed. Come, Lord. The attitudes of one that we have. If the love like Jesus is within us, we will love. To end this is our golden rule. The golden rule is to do in everything, to do to others what would have them to do to you. For this sum up the law and the prophets. This is our golden rule. Kung ayaw mong gawin sa iyo, huwag mong gawin sa iba. Tayo po manalangin. Panginoon, our Father, we are so thankful for that. For your message today. The most important, Lord, is we have this love like Christ, life like Jesus, so that our attitude will be like Jesus. Thank you, O God, in Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
From whom all blessings flow, praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above, ye heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy